Chapter 1762. Yi Qinghan smiled and didn't say much. Things had already developed to this point, so it was pointless to think too much. Let's go in and see what kind of shocking secrets are hidden in this underground palace. Yi Qinghan suggested. Jian Shisan stood with his sword in hand, distancing himself from Yi Qinghan. It was obvious that neither of them trusted the other, especially in this environment. Whoever made the first move could cause fatal damage to the other. Please. Jian Shisan gestured with his hand. Yi Qinghan sighed and whispered, Brother Shisan, you don't have to be so cautious. You can't kill me here, and I can't kill you either. I can't kill you either, or I'll attract the attention of the eternal sacred land. I won't be able to escape from the eternal sacred land even if I had 10 lives. Jian Shisan smiled silently, then hid his sword within his sleeve and replied indifferently, Brother Yi is indeed extraordinary. No wonder even the experts of the 3 great powers were unable to kill you when they joined forces. If you don't mind, then I'll take you as my brother. Yi Qinghan smiled. Then I'll be climbing up the social ladder. I'm more interested in Brother Ye's future achievements. In today's large world, even an eternal expert can't fight against the holy empires of the Central Plains. At least a friend can look out for you. Moreover, you're a pill master. If we're talking about climbing up the social ladder, it's you. I've cultivated for a bit longer than you. If you don't mind calling me Brother Shisan, I can swear on my Tao heart that if I betray Brother Yi in this life, my Tao heart will shatter and I'll never reach the eternal immortal realm. Jian Shisan stared at Yi Qinghan and raised his hand, pointing to the top of his head. There may not be any gods, but there must be the heavens. The heavens are my witness. If I, Jian Shisan, speak a single lie, I'll die without a burial place. Yi Qinghan looked at Jian Shisan's solemn expression and his expression became serious. He bowed slightly and said, Brother Shisan, I don't believe in vows, but I believe in your vows. I can guarantee that if you don't betray me, I won't betray you. All right, younger brother Yi, with these words of yours, I'm relieved. Sword 13 stretched out his hand and patted Yi Qinghan's shoulder as he laughed frankly and frankly. Yi Qinghan responded with a smile. He then turned to look at the ashes of Qin Fenghua and the others. In the end, he couldn't bear it and put them away. He said in a serious tone, 13th brother, can you help me treat the descendants of these families well? Exempt them from 100,000 years of worship and provide them with some help? The Medicine King was completely crippled. His eyes were lifeless as he was controlled by the insect Queen Mother. His soul did not even have the chance to resist. With regards to the group of people that Yi Qinghan had found, Jian Shisan did not need to investigate to know who they were. Fire Beacon City, Yu Clan, and their friends, I will exempt them from 100,000 years of worship and provide them with protection. Take it as me giving you face, little brother. As for Southern Abyss City, you can deal with it yourself. Jian Shisan replied straightforwardly. Yi Qinghan nodded with satisfaction and took the initiative to walk in front, heading towards the depths of the underground palace. The interior of the underground palace had long been opened by the half-step Eternal Sovereign. The surrounding rooms had not been opened so far. The runes on them should have been sealed by the Eternal Sovereign himself. No one could open them except for the Eternal Sovereign. A crystal coffin was located in the depths of the underground palace. It was completely transparent. A corpse was lying inside. There was a big hole in its chest that almost pierced through the body. 2 golden heavenly dragons were sealed on the crystal coffin, completely sealing the lid of the coffin. The attacker was most likely another Eternal Sovereign. Otherwise, the half-step Eternal Sovereign would have opened the coffin and thoroughly studied it. The corpse inside was majestic. Although it had been dead for countless years, it still carried a strong heavenly might that spread out through the crystal coffin. Hiss-dong dong dong. Huff huff huff. At this moment, Jian Shisan's breathing was rapid and his whole body was tense. He had seen an Eternal Sovereign before and knew that the corpse in front of him was definitely an Eternal Sovereign. An Eternal Sovereign is not an immortal. They can really be killed. Once this news spreads, the entire world will be plunged into the flames of war. Our sword Dao Great Eternal Sacred Ground will be the first to bear the brunt. Jian Shisan roared hoarsely. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists. Now that he thought about it, he didn't know if it was right or wrong to kill the 40 people who helped him. But if he let them go, how many people would die because of this? Yi Qinghan's eyes were like torches as he stared at the bloody hole in the Eternal Sovereign's chest. The blood had yet to dry up and the corpse was indeed immortal. But the soul was already dead. We don't have time to study it. It's too late to go back. With so many dead, Senior Marshal Brother will be suspicious. Jian Shisan said solemnly. Yi Qinghan nodded and quickly left the underground palace with Jian Shisan. After figuring out the mechanism, they completely destroyed the 2 statues and sealed the mountain range before quickly leaving. Back in the heaven-suppressing palace, Yi Qinghan mobilized the city guards to maintain order and ordered some respectable people to take control of the city. Then, Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan headed straight for the heaven-suppressing palace's mineral vein. The mineral vein area was endless, and countless resources were stored here. There was a large army guarding it, and there were also several experts. However, when facing Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan, they didn't even have the chance to resist and were directly smashed into pieces. Yi Qinghan quickly found the Yu clan's people. He didn't reveal his identity and only asked them to take control of the mineral vein. The news of the heaven-suppressing palace being uprooted in one night spread far and wide, shocking the world. The heaven-suppressing palace that was at the peak of its power was razed to the ground in one night. Everyone seemed to know about it. At least, no one in the Sword Dao Great Eternal Sacred Ground talked about it. In the sacred palace of the Saint City, Lord Sword stared coldly at the corpses of Shi Zhentian and the others. He waved his hand and said, "Men, bury them." A group of disciples quickly carried the 5 corpses away. Sacred Chess Sovereign smiled and shook his head. Shi Zhentian was so stubborn. In the end, he still didn't tell us why he wanted so many tributes. There must be someone powerful behind him. Senior Marshal Brother, don't be angry. When Shisan returns, the truth will be revealed. Lord Sword nodded. He didn't panic at all. But there's news from the Life Tablet room. The disciples that followed Shisan all died in battle. Sacred Chess Sovereign continued. Sigh, I hope nothing happens to Shisan. Lord Sword sighed with a solemn expression. A month later, Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan rushed to the Saint City to meet Lord Sword. Lord Sword asked in surprise, "There's an expert on the same level as me in the heaven-suppressing palace?" Senior Marshal Brother, it's true. If I didn't reveal my identity in time, Brother Yi and I would have died. After that person found out about my identity, he left on his own accord. I've checked and found out that there are countless resources hidden in the place Senior Marshal Brothers sect master suspected. I brought them all back. Jian Shisan said solemnly. Lord Sword obviously wouldn't suspect Jian Shisan. After listening to Jian Shisan and Yi Qinghan's explanation, he said, Yi Qinghan, the 6 factions you mentioned, since their clan masters died in this mission, their tributes will be exempted for 100,000 years. As for protection, everyone knows about it. Don't tell them and I'll make sure they don't die. Chapter 1763. Being exempted from 100,000 years of worship was a huge sum of money. Yi Qinghan bowed slightly to express his gratitude. He then left the sacred palace and returned to the Yu family. The Yu family and Qin Xianxian were panicking. The atmosphere was dead silent. Yu Zongsheng's life tablet was broken, but it was not broken. No one knew if he was dead or severely injured. As for Qin Fenghua, his life tablet was in Fire Beacon City. Qin Xianxian was also very anxious. Qin Xianxian understood the danger of this mission. It was normal for some people to die. Just as everyone was waiting, Yi Qinghan returned. He was still wearing a bamboo hat. However, his gloomy mood made everyone even more anxious. I'm sorry that I couldn't bring your clan masters back. Yi Qinghan's voice was very low. Qin Xuanxuan's body swayed and he slumped onto the chair in despair. The few elders of the Yu family immediately cried in grief. They were all Yu Zongsheng's sons. Their cultivation was not bad, but they definitely could not lead their family to survive in the sacred city. I have already applied to the sword principal sect. The Qin family, the Yu family, and their 4 friends' families will be exempted from worship for 100,000 years. They have also agreed. Yi Qinghan stared at everyone and said, 100,000 years of worship was good news. To these elders who were about to turn into Tao, it was worth it to die in exchange for 100,000 years of worship. These families also thought so. Although the Yu family was sad, they did not make things difficult for Yi Qinghan. The Sun family, Lu family, Tang family, and Chao family were the families of Yu Zongxing's friends. They were in the sacred city and lived together with the Yu family. Yi Qinghan personally went to pass the message. After passing the message, Yi Qinghan returned to the Yu family. He went to the room alone and completely sealed the room. He heaved a sigh of relief. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and more than 10 souls appeared in the room. However, their souls were weak and almost collapsed. Mr. Yang, why did you destroy our bodies? Why did Lord Sword 13 kill his subordinates? Why is that? Qin Fenghua's soul, who was the first to awaken, rebuked angrily. Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth in silence. He had destroyed their bodies, but the blue flame demonic fire hadn't destroyed their bodies. However, he still felt extremely guilty. He couldn't answer their questions, which were the purest form of their souls. Yu Zongxing was still able to accept it. After all, he was already nearing the end of his lifespan. He could die at any moment. Brother Fenghua, forget it. I'm sure Mr. Yang was forced to do so. You've also seen how ruthless Lord Sword 13 was when he killed his own subordinates. Mr. Yang is already taking a risk by leaving our souls behind. Yu Zongxing persuaded in a low voice. Yi Qinghan nodded. The 12 souls remained silent. They had no choice in this mission that would lead to their deaths, and neither did Yi Qinghan. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, I won't let anything happen to your families, Yi Qinghan said with certainty. With great difficulty, Yi Qinghan finally managed to pacify everyone's souls. He wrapped them up in a pouch filled with life elixirs and hid it in his bosom. After that, he left the Yu clan. In the Medicine King's pavilion, the Medicine King had returned, but his soul no longer belonged to him. It had been replaced by the Insect Queen. Yi Qinghan came to the top of the Medicine King's pavilion and found Medicine King. At this moment, many materials were delivered to him. When the Insect Queen saw Yi Qinghan, she immediately delivered all the materials to Yi Qinghan and said respectfully, Master, these are the materials you asked for. The extreme yin and extreme yang godly treasures are in our hands. Now, we're only missing the reincarnation Dao fruit. Yi Qinghan nodded in satisfaction and reminded them, do not expose yourself. Move most of the Medicine King's pavilion and Medicine King Manor's assets to the Heaven Suppressing Palace. We will use the Heaven Suppressing Palace as our base to build a small faction and hide here for the time being. Yes, Master. The Insect Queen replied respectfully. After receiving the materials, Yi Qinghan did not leave. Instead, he stayed in the Medicine King's pavilion to study the immortality pellets recipes, memorizing every single detail. Then, Yi Qinghan flipped through the ancient books and recipes in the Medicine King's pavilion. There were countless pellet recipes here and most of them were lost in history. There were all sorts of pellet recipes ranging from the lowest level to the highest level of level 14. Yi Qinghan continued to flip through the book, reading 10 lines at a time and memorizing them all. Insect Queen, help me make a copy of all the pellet recipes here. I want to take the original with me. Yi Qinghan was completely entranced by the pill recipes and couldn't bear to part with them. Thus he ordered. The Insect Queen Mother quickly released countless insect children, which formed into human forms and started copying the pellet recipes. The room was simply decorated. It was filled with bookshelves and each shelf had hundreds of pellet recipes. Some of the pellet recipes were poisons that could kill without leaving a trace while others were precious saint medicines that could save lives. Yi Qinghan paced back and forth in the room. He felt that there were some places that he hadn't found yet. After searching for a long time, Yi Qinghan's gaze landed on the furnace in the room. Chapter 1764. The Saint Alchemy Master's handwritten notes were exactly what Yi Qinghan lacked. Yi Qinghan's alchemy ability was definitely top-notch. After all, He had the blue flame demon fire. However, he knew nothing about alchemy recipes or alchemy techniques. Yi Qinghan sat in a small room, flipping through his notes. However, they were only about alchemy techniques. From these techniques, he could deduce some of the ingredients needed to refine a pill, but it wasn't comprehensive. If he wanted to truly refine a divine pill, he still needed a pill recipe. The Medicine King Pavilion didn't have a single 5th-rank pill recipe. Only the Medicine King knew where the notes had come from. In 3 days, the Insect Queen used her countless brood insects to copy the pill recipes. Finally, she finished copying all of them. Yi Qinghan took all of the original copies. The Insect Queen continued to oversee the Medicine King Pavilion. She transferred 80% of the Manor and Medicine King Manor's resources to Yi Qinghan. Aside from 20% to maintain their operations, the rest was given to Yi Qinghan. On this day, the pill refinement competition ended. Qin Xianxian placed 6th. With Nanyuan Jingbei and Yi Qinghan's help, he was able to advance to the top 3. News of the Pill Master Society's headquarters moving to Fire Beacon City spread throughout the sacred land of Sword Dao. Fire Beacon City was bustling with activity. Countless families and businesses headed to Fire Beacon City to purchase real estate and land. With the Pill Master Society there would be endless business opportunities. Qin Xianxian cried tears of joy. He hugged Yi Qinghan and said bitterly, "It's too bad grandfather can't see it. He'd be so happy otherwise." Yi Qinghan rubbed Qin Xuanxuan's head and smiled bitterly. "He'll know that your efforts haven't been in vain," he said gently. "Thank you, master. Grandfather will be happy to see Fire Beacon City's glory days." Qin Xianxian looked up at Yi Qinghan's handsome face and tiptoed to kiss his lips. Yi Qinghan looked down at Qin Xuanxuan's teary eyes. His heart skipped a beat as he carried him to the bed. Several days later, all matters in the holy city were settled. Yi Qinghan went to the holy hall to bid farewell to revered Lord Sword and the others before sending Qin Xianxian to Fire Beacon City. The two of them bought a horse carriage and sped along the way. In half a month, they arrived at Liao City. Borrowing the teleportation array, they returned to Fire Beacon City in half a day. Many powerful forces had already smelled the business opportunity. Before Qin Xuanxuan's elder brother, Qin Xianxian, could react, many people had already swarmed over, offering high prices to purchase the Feng Shui treasured land. The main city had been expanded by more than 10 times due to this group of companies, and countless shops had opened in response. Qin Xianluo was a little dazed. Zhang Yingshi looked at Li Qingqing, who was still a virgin, and shook his head. "Li Qingqing, once you are a member of Heaven Chant Inn, you will be a member of Heaven Chant Inn forever. I, Zhang Yingshi, am not a heartless person. I will allow you to return home. But if the Heaven Chant Inn needs you to fight, you cannot refuse." Hearing this, Yu Qingqing was overjoyed. She kowtowed again and presented a storage ring to Zhang Yingshi with both hands. She said softly, "Thank you, Dojo Master, for your kindness. Qingqing is eternally grateful. In the future, as long as Dojo Master summons me, I will repay you even if I have to die." Since the Lu clan has just been released, they are in urgent need of money. Take these and return home. I will accept your kindness. Zhang Yingshi waved his hand and said, "Go. Remember, report back once every 100 years or I will personally look for you." Lu Qingqing was overjoyed. She immediately left the Earth Room and went to the Heaven Chant Inn to bid farewell to the Heaven Chant ladies. The 10 Heaven Chant ladies were as close as sisters. Now that the Lu clan had been released, they were all happy for her. "Sisters, as long as I have a way, I will definitely save your family." Lu Qingqing packed her things. She carried her zither and dressed in white. She was extremely beautiful. "Sister, be careful." The ladies said their farewells with tears in their eyes. After the painful parting, Lu Qingqing was eager to return home. She quickly left the Heaven Chant Inn. Zhang Yingshi stood on the 20th floor and looked at Lu Qingqing's back. She rubbed her fingers together and her eyes were emotionless. The Heaven Suppressing Palace was taken out in one night. The Sword Dao sect must be behind this. But the Sword Dao sect has no reason to do so. Zhang Yingshi muttered to himself. Then, he hurriedly wrote a letter and left behind a letter before disappearing from the Heaven Chant Dojo. He followed behind Yu Qingqing not too far away. Lu Qingqing did not know that Zhang Yingshi was following her. She was running at full speed, her white dress fluttering in the wind. She stepped on the ground and a melody echoed in the fields. On the second day, in the Heaven Suppressing Palace's central district, the Heaven Chant Inn's branch received a message. The inn master was also a woman of great beauty. Her cultivation level was not inferior to Zhang Yingshi's. After reading the message, she crushed the talisman. Chapter 1765. In the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture, there were many things waiting to be done. The war had flattened 80% of the buildings in the main city, resulting in countless casualties. These days, the people within the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture were in a state of panic. With the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture being flattened, the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture city was naturally afraid of being implicated. Thus, even the Heaven Chant Building's branch kept a low profile. Yi Qinghan gave out a few more orders, reducing the tributes of all the villages, the smaller clans by 50%, the bigger clans and sects by 40%, and the merchants by 30%. Only then did the entire Heaven Suppressing Prefecture city become lively again, attracting countless experts and clans to come and live in this huge territory. Now, Yi Qinghan had no one to help him, he had to do everything himself. Some things were too busy and he had to select some talents from the Yu clan. However, their cultivation levels were too weak to handle the overall situation. Some of the clans volunteered themselves and wanted to join Yi Qinghan, but Yi Qinghan welcomed them one by one, assessed them, and found some reliable talents. The Heaven Suppressing Prefecture was rebuilt once again and Yi Qinghan paid 100,000 strands of wealth to hire carpenters and workers. Building a large area was not dangerous and was considered a decent job. Most of the workers were old men who came to sign up, but they were conscientious and responsible, afraid that they would do something wrong and anger their employer. Yi Qinghan was very generous to these people. He did not delay their payment and directly distributed 100,000 strands of wealth to them. In just a month's time, a huge manor appeared in the center of the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture city. However, the manor was no longer called Heaven Suppressing Prefecture but Crazed Manor. The purpose was simple, it was to attract the crazed sex people to come and report. Yi Qinghan lived in a secluded and beautiful courtyard in the manor. It was close to the mountains and rivers, and the spiritual energy was abundant. In a month's time, other than dealing with the matters in the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture city, he also had to reclaim all the mineral resources in the city and replace them with new workers. However, instead of using slaves, he paid for them to do so. Yi Qinghan's series of actions were welcomed by the people in the Heaven Suppressing Prefecture city. Just as the Crazed Manor was officially built, an uninvited guest arrived at the city gates. She was dressed in white and looked like a goddess descending from the heavens. It was Lu Qingqing. She carried a zither on her back and smiled widely, shocking the people around her. No one knew who he was, but that didn't stop them from having a sense of beauty. This is a woman of the highest quality. Who is she? Why haven't I seen her before? Everyone asked in surprise. When the Lu clan was destroyed, Lu Qingqing was still very young. Moreover, she belonged to a noble family and rarely came out. Now that she had grown up, her temperament had undergone a complete transformation. Her smile could topple cities, and when she walked, she could even move the rhythm of heaven and earth, extremely pleasing to the ear. May I ask, where is the Yu clan? Yu Qingqing danced gracefully and arrived in front of a young man, asking in a crisp voice. The young man's mind was a blur and he lost consciousness. He could only see Lu Qingqing's face in his eyes, but he couldn't hear anything. She's looking at me? Is she talking to me? It's over. I've fallen. I love her. The goddess in my heart has changed. Most of the men on the street seemed to have gone crazy. Even the women regarded her as a goddess, their eyes wide open. Yu Qingqing was used to such gazes and shook her head repeatedly. She nudged the young man in front of her with her fingertips and smiled again. May I ask where the Yu family is? But the young man's eyes were shining, his soul was empty, and he was drooling. I know. A young man took the opportunity and pushed the young man in front of Yu Qingqing away. His face was filled with adoration and he bowed. Fairy, the Yu clan is now a noble family in the heaven-suppressing prefecture city. They are greatly favored by the city lord and have been moved to the south district. All the nobles are there. Please let me lead the way for you. Go away. How can you blaspheme the fairy's face? You should let the noble family's disciple lead the way. At this moment, another young man in brocade robes and a few guards forcefully pushed the young man to the other side. Their faces were full of desire. Fairy, I am Mu Shanhe from the heaven-suppressing prefecture city's Mu Yu Trading Company. I have some ties with the Yu clan. Why don't you let me lead the way for you? The young man in luxurious clothes said evilly. Yu Qingqing despised the young man in her heart. When the Yu clan was in trouble, which family in the heaven-suppressing prefecture city was willing to help them? They all watched from the sidelines and took advantage of the situation. This Mu Yu Trading Company was the worst as they were the first to surrender to the heaven-suppressing prefecture. Forget it, I don't have the fortune to enjoy it. I can find my way around. Yu Qingqing's face froze for a second, just like an ice fairy. But the more she acted like this, the more men wanted to conquer her. Yu Qingqing walked around Mu Shanhe and quickly headed towards the city center. But Mu Shanhe was like a mangy dog, staring at her, and Yu Qingqing was so angry that she almost attacked him. In the Kuang Manor, an old butler rushed from the manor to Yi Qinghan's courtyard. City Lord, I heard there is a young lady outside the city. She carries a zither and says she is looking for the Yu clan. Yi Qinghan slowly got up and turned to smile at Li Qingqing. Carrying her zither, Yu Qingqing quickly rushed towards Yi Qinghan, stretching out her jade-like arms to hug his broad shoulders. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me. Yu Qingqing was incomparably excited. She looked up at Yi Qinghan, her eyes filled with gratitude and admiration. Yi Qinghan smiled and pulled Li Qingqing's hand to let her sit down. Why did the heavenly chant house allow you to come back? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. Yu Qingqing said with an innocent face, the house master is very good. She seems to be very strict with us, but as long as we don't betray her, she will treat us as sisters. Yi Qinghan sneered. If someone like Zhang Yingshi was really so innocent, how could he oversee a region? How could he become the confidant of an eternal sovereign? Don't expose my identity after you return. If there are any problems, you must report to me. You are not allowed to hide anything, understand? Yi Qinghan reminded in a deep voice. You are my great benefactor. This little girl has no way to repay you. Yu Qingqing replied playfully. Yi Qinghan interrupted Yu Qingqing's words in advance. He reached out and pinched her chin, raising her head, and said with an evil smile, if you have no way to repay me, then repay me with your body. Tonight, you are mine. I need you. I hope you can serve me well. Yu Qingqing shyly lowered her head like a chick pecking at rice. She didn't have any intention of rejecting him. Yi Qinghan nodded, very satisfied with Yu Qingqing's attitude. He said, go to the Yu clan and take a look. Don't run around in the southern district. The Yu clan's back mountain is a forbidden area. No one is allowed to enter, including your Yu clan's people. Understand? Yu Qingqing nodded repeatedly, as obedient as a child. When you return, come directly to this courtyard. Clean yourself up after the journey. Yi Qinghan smiled. Yes, master. Tonight, Xiaonu will definitely satisfy both your body and mind. Li Qingqing pretended to be a female slave and teased Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan was so provoked by Yu Qingqing that he almost couldn't control himself, but in the end he managed to hold himself back. Go quickly. I'm sure the Yu clan's people are also waiting for your return. Yi Qinghan patted Yu Qingqing's head, indicating for her to leave. Yu Qingqing quickly left the courtyard. Yi Qinghan watched her departing figure with vigilance in his heart. Zhang Yingshi wouldn't be so kind as to let her return. What is Zhang Yingshi planning? Yi Qinghan slowly stepped out of the courtyard and went to an observation tower next to the manor's high walls. He looked at the streets outside the manor. Yu Qingqing skipped her way to the southern district. There were many people in the surroundings because the Mu Yu Trading Company's family head was kneeling at the entrance. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like torches. He didn't care about the Muyue trading company. Instead, he looked around to see if anyone was following Yu Qingqing. The people on the streets all had their own matters to attend to, so they didn't follow Yu Qingqing to the southern district. After a long time, Yu Qingqing returned to the Yu clan. Yi Qinghan finally withdrew his gaze. Divine Bird, you've been in the Heaven Chant Mansion for so long. You should know Zhang Yingshi better. With her personality, she shouldn't have let Yu Qingqing return. But now she did. What do you think she wants? Yi Qinghan asked softly. The Divine Bird crawled out from the bloodline and flew to the stone table in the forest pavilion. It said lazily, "That little bitch, she won't do anything without benefits. She let Yu Qingqing return because she wants to find out why the Heaven Suppressing Palace was destroyed. This has nothing to do with the Heaven Chant Mansion, but she still interfered. This only means that she knows something is wrong with the Southern District, but she didn't have the chance to do so." Yi Qinghan was shocked. The Southern District's underground palace, the fewer people who knew about it, the better. If the Heaven Chant Mansion's people knew about it, then things would be bad. The underground palace's passageway was sealed. Only when Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan worked together could the mechanism be opened. But even so, Yi Qinghan was still uneasy. Yu family. Yu Qingqing arrived at the Yu family's courtyard. Looking at the huge courtyard, the surroundings were beautiful. Every family had their own house and yard, and the children were cultivating together in the plaza. She felt even more grateful towards Yi Qinghan. Aunt Qingqing is back. And is here. A few young men were the first to notice Yu Qingqing, and they were all shocked by her face. What? The Yu family's courtyard was bustling with activity. A large group of elders rushed out. Everyone in the Yu family knew that if it weren't for Yu Qingqing's continuous contributions to the Heaven Suppressing Palace, the Yu family would no longer exist in this world. Yu Qingqing was so emotional that tears flowed down her cheeks. Many children knelt before her, expressing their gratitude. Yu Qingqing quickly helped the children up, and after greeting everyone in the Yu family, she was about to leave. The Yu family's clan master asked reluctantly, "Are you still going back now? Our Yu family owes you too much. If you can't, we will pay the ransom to get you back." Yu Qingqing was touched by the Yu family's attitude. She shook her head and said, "Second grandfather, I am not going back to the Heaven Chant Mansion. I'm going to the Kuang Manor. The Kuang Manor's master is my benefactor. I am going to pay him a visit. I will not be coming back today." Upon hearing that she was going to the Kuang Manor, the Yu family understood that the Heaven Suppressing Palace's destruction was most likely related to Yu Qingqing. Chapter 1767. When Yu Qingqing heard the Yu family members praising Yi Qinghan for being a good person, she couldn't help but want to laugh. She thought to herself, "He's so bad. You guys just don't know." However, Yu Qingqing didn't say much. After bidding farewell to the Yu family members, she went straight to Kuang Mansion under the gaze of her family members. After returning to Kuang Mansion, Yu Qingqing went straight to the courtyard and boiled water to wash herself. Her tiredness was washed away and her aura became even more celestial. Her creamy skin was sparkling and translucent, emitting a treasure light that flowed on the surface of her body. She wore a white veil that covered half of her body. It was faintly discernible, adding to her charm. Yi Qinghan put down the book in his hand and felt the vitality in his body draining away very quickly. The last time he was hit by the half-step Eternal Sovereign, he still hadn't recovered from it. As such, he didn't have much vitality left. Yu Qingqing was a virgin and had the Yin attribute. Her cultivation had reached the 7th level of the World Lord realm, and she was the strongest among the Heaven's Chant women. Cultivating both Yin and Yang would help Yi Qinghan recover his vitality the most. Yi Qinghan wasn't a hypocritical moral bitch. He was a genuine and pure villain. How could he not eat the meat in front of him? Good person. My family is praising you for being a good person. Yu Qingqing covered her cherry lips, covering her upper body, and giggled softly. Yi Qinghan looked at the beauty in front of him, and his lips curled into an evil smile. He replied indifferently, "I don't deserve the title of a good person. However, you can be considered a good woman." Thanks for master's praise. This servant is the one who doesn't deserve it. Yu Qingqing smiled sweetly. She looked like a weak female slave that could make men impulsive. Even Yi Qinghan, who had a strong will, felt his heart ripple at this moment. The beauty in front of him was almost naked, but because of that transparent veil, he couldn't stop himself. Her delicate expression was perfect, and her voluptuous body didn't have any excess fat. She had curves in all the right places and there wasn't a single flaw. Yi Qinghan stared at Yu Qingqing. She was incomparably shy and lowered her head, not daring to look at him directly. "Come and sit." Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand as he sat in the pavilion. Yu Qingqing walked gracefully, her lithe body moving to the rhythm. She turned slightly and reached out to grab Yi Qinghan's large hand. He pulled her into his embrace and she sat on his lap. Yi Qinghan's large hand took advantage of the situation and ruthlessly squeezed. Lu Qingqing couldn't help but cry out softly. The boneless softness was like water, and it was even more comfortable than touching water. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but take a deep breath and clear away all distracting thoughts. Chapter 1771. That night, Lord Fazhen explained the true situation of the 20 sacred lands. Yi Qinghan had a general understanding of eternal world. He couldn't help but marvel at how big this world was. Sword Shirsan was a native, but he didn't know much about the sacred land Sword Dao. Those who ventured out to temper themselves were either powerless or half-step eternal experts. No one knew if they'd be able to survive if they ventured out. In the eternal sacred land of Sword Dao, Jian Shirsan was like a holy sun. But outside the sacred land he was nothing. Lord Fazhen could kill him at will. Even an eternal expert couldn't find out who killed him. After a night, the three came to an agreement. After dealing with the experts of the 2 sacred lands, they officially cooperated. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shirsan didn't want to cooperate with this old monster, but he was too strong. Now that he had something on them, they had no choice but to cooperate. After Lord Fazhen left, Jian Shirsan looked worried. He whispered, "This old thing is too old. Cooperating with him is like asking a tiger for its skin." Yi Qinghan sighed. "Do we have any other way? He needs our help now. When the time comes, we can use his enlightenment to improve ourselves. He hasn't comprehended anything after so many years. I think he won't be able to break through in a short time. We are young and have potential. Maybe we can reach half-step eternal realm in advance. When we join forces, he won't be able to kill us instantly." Jian Shirsan was helpless. At this point, they had no choice but to cooperate. Yi Qinghan stood up slowly. His slender body exuded a powerful aura. However, he was still lacking qi. He had to find the Tao fruit of reincarnation soon. "Let's leave the mansion. I think Daipamkara and Invincible Buddha will appear and be humiliated by Lord Fazhen. They won't have the face to stay here anymore," Jian Shirsan suggested. Yi Qinghan nodded. He stepped out of the courtyard and went straight to the gate. The two walked side by side. Yi Qinghan only wore a mask. Burned Mie and Invincible Buddha would definitely recognize him. As soon as the two appeared, half of Heaven's suppressing city was stirred. Jian Shirsan was the 3rd-generation chief disciple of Sword Dao sect. He was on the same level as a holy sun. It was hard for him not to prosper. Countless experts and shop owners came to offer gifts to Jian Shirsan and Yi Qinghan. Jian Shirsan and Yi Qinghan both rejected the gifts. They came to the central plaza of Heaven's suppressing city and Heaven's suppressing city. "Ladies and gentlemen, I, Jian Shirsan, represent the Sword Dao sacred ground to announce that the Heaven's suppressing prefecture city's taxes will be reduced by 30%. After all, City Lord Yi has already reduced the taxes for most of you. We, the Sword Dao sacred ground, empathize with the people and understand City Lord Ye's efforts. Hence, we are willing to share some of the burden with him." Chapter 1773. The 2 divine Buddhas ran away in embarrassment, but before they could even leave the heaven-suppressing city, Invincible Divine Buddha's deeds had already spread across half of the sacred ground. Furthermore, the news was spreading at an extremely fast speed, causing Invincible Divine Buddha's reputation to plummet. Blessed Buddha Temple's reputation was once again suppressed, and when people mentioned Blessed Buddha Temple, they were filled with disgust and disdain. In the heaven-suppressing city's plaza, Yi Qinghan handed over Invincible Divine Buddha's storage ring to the beautiful lady and gave her 10,000 strands of wealth as compensation for her loss. After some investigation, Jian Shisan found out that she was the second lady of the Feng clan and even gave her a decent secret art. The Feng clan benefited from this disaster. Yi Qinghan and Jian Shisan left with a smile on their faces. With this crisis resolved, Invincible Divine Buddha would no longer have the face to come back to the heaven-suppressing city. Back in Kuang Manor, Fazhen Demon Lord's face was gloomy. Although he was neither righteous nor evil, he had never done something so despicable. Now that he had tarnished Blessed Buddha Temple's reputation, even the Lord of Blessed Buddha would come after him personally. "Senior, please don't be angry. This is something that only the heavens, earth, you and the two of us know." Yi Qinghan smiled. Fazhen Demon Lord sneered coldly, "Zhang Yingshi knows too." Yi Qinghan was puzzled. How strong was this Zhang Yingshi to make Fazhen Demon Lord so wary? She was just a woman and he despised her from the bottom of his heart. He then said, "Senior, don't worry. I'll help you deal with Zhang Yingshi." Fazhen Demon Lord sneered in disdain. How could someone like Zhang Yingshi be easily dealt with by an ant? Yi Qinghan did not explain further. He thought about it and concluded that the most important thing right now was to find the reincarnation Dao fruit and concoct a Tier 15 longevity pellet. This was to save his life. Without the longevity pellet, he wouldn't have much time left. No matter how many divine treasures there were in the underground palace, he wouldn't be able to enjoy them. "Dao friends, I need the reincarnation Dao fruit urgently. Do you have any way to get it? If you can get it, I'm willing to give you a longevity pill." Yi Qinghan said with certainty, "You know that I can restore my life force. As long as you provide me with the pill formula, I can definitely refine Tier 15 God pills. Moreover, they will all be of high grade. What I need is a 16-grade divine pill. A sacred pill master like you is nothing in my eyes." Fazhen Demon Ancestor replied in disdain. Sword 13 needed a Tier 15 divine pellet, and he needed it very much. Chapter 1774. The divine bird had infuriated Zhang Yingshi, but the divine bird was slow to realize it. It stood on Yi Qinghan's shoulder with a smug look. Yi Qinghan looked at Zhang Yingshi's undulating breasts and felt embarrassed. He quickly stopped the divine bird from speaking any further. The four of them then headed towards the teleportation array. Fire Beacon City. Countless merchant clans and sects rose up. Many small cities were built in Fire Beacon City. The villages near the main city were also developed. However, as Fire Beacon City developed, there were more and more experts. There were even people who wanted to take over the city lord's seat. There was no choice. Fire Beacon City didn't have any experts. The siblings, Qin Xianxian and Qin Xianluo, couldn't suppress the various chiefs. It had been a few months, and they couldn't even collect a single consecration. The soldiers they sent were actually beaten back. When the major factions saw this, they all followed suit. This caused Fire Beacon City to not only lose its glory, but also decline. In Fire Beacon City's main city, some merchant clans couldn't hold on any longer. Many people stopped paying consecration and even took the lead to create a ruckus. In the Qin clan, Qin Xianluo and Qin Xianxian were extremely angry. They sat in the main hall and looked at the invitations. There were a total of 81 clans, and the contents of the invitations were surprisingly similar. It was obvious that they had a good discussion. This group of people is too much. They are clearly trying to take over the city lord's residence and make the 81 clans into a large group to control Fire Beacon City. They want to collect consecration and hand it over to the Sword Dao's sacred ground. Instead, we have to hand over consecration to them. Outrageous. Qin Xianluo smashed all the invitations and roared, "If grandfather was still alive, who would dare to treat our Fire Beacon City like this?" Qin Xianxian looked at the contents of the invitations and was so angry that he couldn't do anything. The Sword Dao's sacred ground didn't care about the internal affairs of the main city. As long as the consecration was handed over, The survival of the fittest was the rule. Now that Fire Beacon City had declined, even though they won the Alchemist Association headquarters, it seemed like they were working for someone else. Call for a clan meeting and see if there is still a chance. If it doesn't work, I will ask Mr. for help. I don't believe they can overturn this place. Qin Xianxian rebuked. At this moment, the Qin clan's housekeeper walked over and said with a helpless expression, "City Lord, the representatives of the 81 forces have requested for you to hand over the ownership of the Fire Beacon City's land deed. They are currently waiting for you in the Juxian Pavilion." "You've gone too far." Qin Xian was so angry that her chest was trembling, and her jade-like hands were clenched tightly. It was especially suitable for group battles. With an open cloud array diagram, one could conquer all rivers in the world. Yi Qinghan excitedly put the open cloud array diagram and the flame spirit divine technique together, preparing to keep them for himself to cultivate. At this moment, the divine bird suddenly screamed and roared, "This divine bird is rich. Haha, I finally found a way to break through to the Sector Lord realm." Now, most of the people in the crazy sect had entered the Sector Lord realm. Yi Qinghan's divine pets had also entered the Sector Lord realm and even advanced to the higher levels. However, the divine bird was still worried about the Sector Lord realm. Looking at it holding a secret technique and laughing wildly, Yi Qinghan and Xianyuan Rongyan couldn't help but look curiously. Beast Emperor Shaft. It recorded the evolution methods of countless vicious beasts. Some vicious beasts even spread their wings and covered the sky, killing peak half-step eternal experts and advancing to the eternal realm. The divine bird looked at the records and trembled with joy. Its fat buttocks twisted and turned, and it bared its teeth. It was extremely wretched. "Wait for me to transform, I'll flirt with all the beauties in the world. The heavens will treat me well, ha." The divine bird was extremely wretched, and its expression was very much like a wretched man. Xianyuan Rongyan looked at the divine bird's smug appearance and couldn't help but want to laugh. If it was a man, it would be fine, but a feathered beast actually wanted to flirt with all the beauties in the world. It was a bit ridiculous. Yi Qinghan curled his lips and said disdainfully, "I feel that even if I give you the Beast Emperor Shaft, you may not be able to cultivate to the Sector Lord realm." The divine bird looked at him with contempt and said in a strange voice, "Tisk. This divine bird's goal is no longer the Sector Lord realm. I want to become an eternal expert. I want to enslave an eternal expert. Ha." Cough, cough, cough. Yi Qinghan and Xianyuan Rongyan were frightened by the divine bird's great ambition. They coughed and almost couldn't breathe. "Okay, the old man, you are awesome. Hurry up and cultivate. If you can become an eternal expert, remember to protect me." Yi Qinghan was too lazy to say anything more and impatiently turned to look for the divine technique he needed. Of course, this divine bird is loyal and righteous. If I don't protect you, who will I protect? The divine bird held the Beast Emperor's shaft tightly, afraid that someone would snatch it away, and boasted shamelessly.